Hey there, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today we're going to be talking about labeling images for doing ML work, basically for building a model. If you've done any work doing ML models for doing things like object detection, you'll know that labeling is a huge part of that work. It's probably the most tedious part, and I find that all of the tools that exist really do suck. Basically, I just get frustrated with their complexity, with having to create an account, uploading files, getting data back out of them is challenging. So what I did was I just created my own tool, and we're going to take a look at that today. The tool I built, I used a very creative naming on. It's called Image Labeler. It's open source, MIT licensed, so it's free. You can download it, doesn't require any sort of accounts. It is available up on GitHub, both in source format and as binaries. I'll put a link down in the description so that you can find this. But let's take a look at how it works. The first thing we have to do anytime we're doing labeling for a model is define the classes. What are the objects we're looking for? In my case, I'm looking at speed limit signs. So I've got classes from 25 to 80. That's the name of the class, just the speed of the sign. Next, what you're going to need is a bunch of images. So I just have two folders here. I've got a processed and unprocessed. You can see processed right now is totally empty. Unprocessed, I just dumped a bunch of images into here. Next, we run the image labeler, and we go over to doing a sort operation. Now what we do is we give it our unprocessed and processed folders. It tells us down here on the lower left that we have 84 images to process. And in this case, I can make the decision of what class it's in. Here, this one is a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, though I could choose to say it is nothing. But I know this is 30, so I'm just going to come over here and click 30. And as we move forward, it automatically changed that image for me. I say this is 30, and so we just click a bunch of these until it disappears, and then there's nothing here, so I click none. And so I went through that full frame set there. So let's go take a look at that folder now. The unprocessed, those files are now missing from here. And if I come over into processed, it created two folders, 30 and none. All of the 30-mile-an-hour images are now in here. And the ones that I clicked none on are in here. So I can continue with that. You can see again down in the lower left here, it says I have 71 images to go. So I can just click on these, and now I see this is 35. And now we're at 25. And so that's the process of sorting. You can go through hundreds or thousands of images fairly quickly, and it will put them into these folder buckets for you by label. Now that we have them sorted, the next job is we need to label these. So I come over to the label tab. Now let me pick a folder in here. Let's say we go to the 35-mile-an-hour. It says there are 14 files in here, and I can, again, I've got next and previous buttons, but what I'll do is I'll select, and it auto-selected this class for me, but I'm doing the 35-mile-an-hour class. And as you would expect, I can draw just a bounding box around that sign. And I do that, and you can see up here, it says class 2, 35-mile-an-hour, and I can remove that if I want. So I can click that, and it removes the bounding box. Go back down, draw this bounding box, and I can even change, if I had the wrong class selected over here, I can change the class over here to something else. When I did that label, if I come back and look at the 35-mile-an-hour, you can see it has created the text file. Inside that text file is a YOLO compliant label. So as I go through each one of these, I can label them. Again, just draw the bounding box, hit next. Draw the bounding box, hit next. And I can go backward, and it shows the bounding box and the objects that have been labeled. Again, you can see it's generating those label files as I move forward and define the bounding boxes. Now, if you already have a model built, and in this case I do, I'm trying to improve this model, so I can use the model that exists and use it to auto-label some of these. So if I come down into model and I browse and I select my model, I can come back over here to label, and you can see it has this apply model button. So let me move forward to something that is not labeled yet, and I can say, let's apply model here. It doesn't see anything in this image with my model. So let's try another one. There we go. So this time it said, I do see one, but you can see it is incorrectly identified it, but it has drawn the box, so I don't have to go in and do the box. It says it's a 45. I say, no, it's a 35. And there we go. I've now used auto labeling to auto label it. And if my model was better, it would have just correctly identified it. Again, I'm trying to improve my model here. So it at least saved me some time by drawing that bounding box for me. The final feature on here that is really helpful is actually just for testing your model. So if we go back to this model tab, I can select that model and I can go into the folder, and every time I step forward or back, it runs that model against the image. So let's move forward and see if we can find something where it actually sees a sign. Let me select a different folder with some more images. This folder has a whole lot more images in it. So now I can step forward and I can test the model, and I can see the existing model that I have thinks this is an 80-mile-an-hour speed limit sign. 58% confidence there, 52. Now it thinks it's a 45 and it's 78% confident. It shows that this model is not very good, and there are a lot of reasons, and I will cover that in a separate video. This is a series on actually building this model and the device to do it, but you'll see that it makes it super, super easy for me to test and validate my model just on any set of data. So I don't have to do a bunch of work in order to be able to test this. And that's really all I have for you today. If you're doing labeling for object detection of a bunch of images and you're frustrated with the tooling that you're finding out there, that's why I built this, is to take away a bunch of that pain and make things as simple as possible. This is cross-platform, so I'm using it on Windows, but it will work on Linux, work on Mac. It's free to use, doesn't require an account, any of that. Hopefully you find it useful. If there are other features that you would like, go ahead and implement it, do a pull request, or put in a request over in the repo. Again, the link is down in the description. Otherwise, that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching.